Welcome to the Mixed Race Belonging podcast, where we explore the intersection of mixed identity and belonging through the lens of somatics and personal and collective liberation to help you heal your belonging wounds and reconnect with your innate wholeness through relationships, new experiences, and activism. I'm your host, Raina LaGrand, an embodiment coach for mixed race people with a background as a trauma therapist, yoga teacher, and health educator. The tools and insights I share with you here are the approach that has not only helped me heal my belonging wound, but also helped me help my mixed race clients do the same. We all need something good to belong to right now. Relationships and spaces where we feel safe, held, seen, heard, and dignified. Thanks for being here, and let's get started with today's show. Hey, y'all, welcome back to the show. I am really super duper excited to announce that I'm going to be hosting a free workshop on January 12th. That's a Monday. It's going to be 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's called The Somatics of Belonging. This workshop is going to show you how you can boldly reclaim belonging as a mixed person from the inside out and the outside in, even if you don't believe you actually fit in anywhere. Because that's something I hear all the time is I don't fit in anywhere. And I totally get that. I don't want to invalidate that. And fitting in is not belonging. They are two different things. So in this workshop, I'm going to break that down. And you're also going to learn signs you have a belonging wound and how to heal it, what somatics is and why it's so essential in decolonizing your body and reclaiming your sense of belonging, and how I help clients feel safe and empowered to go after the relationships, experiences, and life that they want. And when you register, I'm excited because you're going to get this free bonus gift, my Belonging Wounds and Wisdom quiz. This is an enlightening tool that I've been working on for about the past 6 months. And when you take it, it shows you where your system is still protecting old pain, the places where you're already thriving, and what your next growth edges are. So, yeah, your wounds and wisdom. I have had a number of people take this quiz already, and they have all said that their answers feel so accurate and aligned. So, I'm really excited for you to take it as well. So, if you've been feeling like I'm not going to find belonging because I don't fit in anywhere, or maybe feeling like I'm so confused on how to claim my identities without sounding like a total imposter, and if you're ready to free yourself from the armor that's been protecting you from rejection, you're going to want to sign up for this workshop. I'm going to show you how a somatic approach is going to help you build an embodied sense of self trust and resilience so that you can really allow yourself to be seen for all of who you are and find belonging. You're going to leave the workshop knowing A, that it's not your fault you find it so damn hard to be seen. Of course you do. Being mixed is fucking hard. Two, how to be more present in your life and grounded in all situations, even if you get triggered. And three, the shifts to make to be able to finally build that deep sense of belonging so you can go after the life you want. And yes, it's going to be recorded. So if you can't make it live, you can catch the replay. But I think attending live is really the move. And selfishly, I want you to be there. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to sign up for the workshop. And I really hope to see you there. So let's get into today's show. So today's show is honestly a taste of what's to come in the Somatics of Belonging workshop. We are going to be talking about today complexity and multiplicity and how embracing that is so instrumental in healing our belonging wounds. So I want to start off by getting one thing straight. You are not a pile of fractions. I hear so many mixed people describe themselves that way. They say, well, I'm half this and I'm half that, or I'm a quarter this, or I'm just a quarter this. And if that's working for you, great. I'm not here to shame. But I know for so many people, that fractional kind of identity just leaves you feeling fragmented and less than whole. And honestly, I think this is such a colonial way of thinking about your identity, such a mono-racist way of thinking about your identity, that because you hold multiple lineages inside of you, you're only part of each of them. But And I know, like, yeah, sure, DNA, we get 50% of our genes from each parent, whatever, but that's not actually how identity and culture work. In actuality, these kind of things are layered and multiplicitous. You are layered. You are multiplicitous. You are a complex part of the natural world. So, complexity theory is something that I have found really useful and comforting in owning all of my layers as a mixed person. And I've noticed that it's gaining a lot of traction in social justice and movement spaces because, yeah, the world is complex. And it's really cool that we actually have science that can help us figure out how to face that complexity. So complexity theory is it's the study of complex systems and their behaviors, and it focuses on the interactions of multiple factors within those systems. It investigates how intricate structures and patterns emerge from these interactions, particularly in the context of biology and social sciences. So to give you some examples, we are complex systems, right? We contain multiple organs within our body that work together. We contain multiple different parts of our personality. And as mixed people, and really all people, we have multiple intersecting identities. And we are also part of complex systems, communities, institutions, families, and so on. Complex systems are unpredictable, but what's really important to note is that complexity is not the same thing as complicated. And this is something I shared in Belonging Building Blocks recently that people found really comforting, right? So if you think of, let me give you some examples, right? If you're baking a cake, that's a really like sort of clear, straightforward, simple process for most of us. And actually, let me take that back because I don't want to shame anybody who struggles with baking. But like, there's a recipe, right? And if you follow the recipe perfectly, presumably your cake will turn out great. So that's simple. An example of complicated would be a rocket ship, right? There's some uncertainty with a rocket ship, but um, there is also sort of like a recipe for how the rocket works. And then, yeah, presumably it would work fine if all the parts are working right and everything's plugged in. Humans, we are complex. We are somewhat unpredictable, right? Like, there's not some perfect recipe for how a person should be or what we do day to day, right? There's all these different factors that shape the decisions that we make and how our personalities turn out. And like, there's nothing pathological about that, right? And I think this is important to get because I think sometimes as mixed people, we feel like our identity is complicated, and I think in some ways that's why we describe ourselves as fractions because we want to make it simple for people. 50% this, 50% that, right? Like a cake is like 80% flour, 10% water, whatever. But we aren't, we are complex. We are not complicated. And we don't have to reduce ourselves to fractions or an either or of like picking one identity over the other, unless that works for you. That's totally fine, right? We can allow ourselves to be multiplicitous and dynamic. And if other people don't get that, that's kind of on them. Like, I think people's brains, especially in like a colonial capitalist world, crave simplicity, right? Because we're so fucking busy and overwhelmed that we have learned to be cogs in the machine. And yeah, we want that machine to run off without a hitch, but that's just not how like life is. Life and nature in reality is very unpredictable and emergent and constantly changing and evolving. And that's so beautiful. So, if we apply complexity theory to the mixed experience, it's like allowing ourselves to be both and recognizing that emergence is a normal part of the natural world. And let me break that word down for a moment, emergence. So, emergence is what happens when a complex entity has properties or behaviors that its parts do not have on their own. So, it's when something is created that is greater or different from the individual pieces or parts alone, like how consciousness emerges from neurons, or how birds flock and sort of like one will emerge in one direction and the rest follow. Identity, just like other complex organisms and systems in nature, is emergent. Mixed race identities are emergent. They are new and evolving, but that doesn't make them wrong or complicated. Identity has always been an emergent process. We are nature, and there are reminders all around the natural world of what happens when two or more organisms come together. One of my favorite examples is the confluence of two or more bodies of water. And there's this really striking image I use often in my presentations, and I'll share it in the workshop, of the Granite Creek flowing into the Hoback River in Wyoming. That's on Shoshone and Cheyenne land. And it's beautiful. And what you see in this photo is one of the rivers is like super strikingly blue and the other river is like super brown. And when the bodies of water come together, they don't mix immediately. In actuality, like the rivers sort of flow side by side for a while, and each river maintains its distinct color for a considerable distance before they blend together. And that's because each river has different kinds of sediment, temperatures, and flow rates. But eventually, the two do blend, they emerge into this new river. And what I find really powerful about this image and this analogy is that it's not 50% of the Granite River flowing into the Hoback River and 50% of the Hoback River flowing into the Granite River. It's actually 100% of each river flowing side by side until some point downstream, there's this blending. And importantly, this blending is not fractional, it's additive, it's dynamic. The sum of each part creates something whole, something emergent, with traces of each original entity being equally important in this new existence. So, as a mixed person, I think that decolonizing your identity, allowing yourself to be part of nature, complex and emergent, is really key to feeling empowered to go after the relationships, the experiences, and the life that you want. Because if you keep thinking of yourself in pieces, you're never going to feel like enough. But when you start to see yourself as whole, layered, and multiplicitous, you're going to start to appreciate the magic and the wisdom that lives in your layers. You're going to see your mixedness as a source of wisdom instead of a source of confusion. And you're going to see that, yeah, you belong anywhere and everywhere, exactly as you are. So, you're going to learn more about this if you attend my Somatics of Belonging workshop, because one of the main things I'm going to talk about is decolonizing your body, reconnecting to your innate wholeness, and reclaiming your sense of belonging. So I'd really love to see you there. Again, there's a link to sign up in the show notes. And if you have any questions, just feel free to DM me, email me. I'm going to be out of office from December 24th to January 1st, but I'll be back on the 2nd. And so if you DM me or email me, I will respond as soon as I'm back. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2026.